All right, this is a really weird way for me to record this. Normally I do a recording of like just a regular PowerPoint recording and you can see me in the corner, but I am doing this one as a screencast because I want to be able to click out of the PowerPoint. So I'm having to open up a new PowerPoint to record a PowerPoint. It was kind of weird. But anyway, this is the video for the first activity of term 4 for at least the school year that I'm recording it. If it's a different school year than the 21-22 school year, then maybe it's not in the same spot. But this is based off activity 3.3.2 in the PLTW curriculum. And this is on project scheduling. And what I decided to do in creating this activity is to use it to lead into our culminating project for IED. And so what I'm going to have you do is create a project schedule for the big final project that you're going to have to do. So it's going to take a while. The deliverable is going to be a Gantt chart for your team detailing the process for designing and building an automata for IED. So I'm aware at the beginning of this presentation, that probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you. What's a Gantt chart and what's an automata and but we're going to go through all of that, or at least some of that in this presentation, in this video, so you'll know what you are going to need to do. Now, I do want to say a word about the team for a second. So what I decided to do, and as I was typing this up and thinking about it, what I decided to do is I'm going to let you guys pick your own teams because some of the teams have gelled really well. Some of you have a great chemistry working with each other. And then sometimes there's somebody that you'd really prefer not to work with, like your personalities just diverge and it doesn't work out. Everybody is going to have to work with somebody else on this, and you'll see why in a little bit why I want you to do that. And I'm going to cap the groups at no more than 4. Okay, so that's what you kind of want to keep in mind as you're listening to this presentation. Okay, I guess I have to go there. Maybe. Okay, you can hear my neighbors outside taking their girls for a walk. Okay. So here's the intro from the PLTW curriculum on this. Team members are more successful when they have a clear goal for their teamwork. A project schedule breaks down a project into smaller, manageable tasks and is used to track progress. So pretty much what we're going to do in this activity is we are going to take a large task and we're going to break it down into smaller, more manageable tasks. And this is a great life skill, totally apart from engineering. Life is going to be filled with big tasks. Like if you want to sell your house, there's a lot that goes into selling your house, from making upgrades and having inspectors come to making your house show ready to coordinating with a mover. And I mean, there's just lots and lots of pieces to that task. Even starting a new job, it can be filled with lots and lots of little tasks, or tasks that go into this like big job. And so being able to take a big project and break it down into smaller, manageable tasks and track your progress with it is a really, really fantastic life skill, as well as provide ways to build in flexibility. So this task of creating this chart or outline and then using it to carry out a project for this class, whether you're interested in doing engineering long-term or not, this is a valuable life skill. So it also provides a visual for individual and team outcomes. Staying focused on the most important tasks as detailed in the project schedule can make a design team more effective and efficient in creating a successful solution within the project constraints. In this activity, you're going to take part in a kickoff meeting. You're going to get, well, we're not going to do a project charter. I'm just going to give you like what your task is going to be. And then I'll guide you through some of the clarifying questions, but you're probably going to have a lot of questions for me as well. So I'm expecting that. A project schedule includes the projected start and end date for each task. So every task inside the bigger task has a start date and an end date. It identifies the person that that task is assigned to and indicates deadlines for all like your milestones or deliverables, like things that you're going to need to produce for that particular task. So it's really a useful, it's really a useful tool. Okay, so what is a Gantt chart? A Gantt chart is a way to break down a large task into smaller tasks. We already kind of addressed that. It's a way to estimate the time needed to complete each smaller task. And it's actually done, the one that we're going to work with is done in Excel, and it's already a sample Gantt chart. You might be able to find some other ones online, and I'm totally open to you using other templates that are also Gantt charts if you find one that you like better. But it estimates the time needed to complete each smaller task and actually lays it out in this timeline format. It's a way to document who has been assigned which tasks when working with a team. If you're not working with a team, then like you're the person assigned to each task. So you'll see that I like revised mine a little bit. I left some of the stuff blank. A Gantt chart should be easily revisable to account for setbacks or for moving faster than expected. So if you have something, because we've got an estimate of the time that's needed to complete the task, but we know that things happen and sometimes your estimated time ends up being too little and you have to make adjustments, or you might get something done a lot faster than expected, in which case you can add some stuff. You can add some tasks. You can look at making your project better or more thorough. This is often required by engineering firms when giving updates on a project status. And I had to keep my first Gantt chart. I was actually a senior in college the first time I had to do this, but my senior design project was a voice chip, and we had to get the thing talking, which is more of a digital electronics kind of question. But we had to get the thing talking, we had to get it functioning, we had to get it circuit boarded, we had to do all kinds of programming. And so thankfully my project did not have ordering parts. A lot of the senior projects, people had to order things, and so you have to allow time to make those orders and for shipping delays and all of that. But this is something that for those of you that are heading down an engineering field, you probably won't see the last of it. You will probably see it again or something very similar to it. So this is a sample one that I did, and PLTW gave us the where they found this from, and you can find some other ones on your own. And if you find some other ones that you like, then like just kind of run them by me before you decide to use it, just to make sure that that it's okay. What I did one for, and I just kind of played around with this, planning and engineering lesson, and I'm actually going to take us over to the actual Gantt chart in a second. This is just a screenshot of it, but this is kind of what goes on in planning and engineering lesson, the process that I go through every time I need to design a project. I do something similar for my digital kids and for my Algebra 2 classes. Algebra 2 I've done much longer in terms of how long I've taught it, and so that becomes a lot more streamlined for Algebra 2. But all of these, like this is kind of the process. So you'll see over here, we have the task. I just had them numbered. They were numbered in the template and I kept them numbered, but you can name the task like over here where I've got like a description. You can just put the task over there and then give details under the description. But one of the task number 3, we'll look at the whole thing, but decide on the deliverables. What do I want my students to turn in? What do I want you to be able to produce? Then I have to develop a lesson on PowerPoint. That's just how I do, not my algebra lessons, but it is how I do my engineering lessons through a PowerPoint, but like I have to make it. So I record all my lessons, and then after I record a lesson, I have to process it. I have to post the link for those of you that looked at it, and all of that takes time. If the activity requires handouts and anything that I want you to fill out, any questions I want you to answer, I have to type those up. I have to get them printed. I have to upload them to Teams, whatever it is I'm going to do with them, if I'm going to give you hard copies. And so all of that takes time. Then there's a way to track your progress. So how much have I done? Now I can actually go and update this, and maybe I'll go over and I'll update it in this video, but and then I have the start date. Today is the 9th. So I came, actually this is the day I left work early, so I came back from the airport and was like, I should probably try to do something. So I had decided on the deliverables. I can do that in one day, and what you see over here is you see the week of March 7th, and then that's the 9th, and then this like box right there is saying like, I think I can do that on a Wednesday. Develop the lesson PowerPoint. I actually did that in one day, but you can see how you enter the start and the stop date, and then what the Gantt chart does. And this is what's great about using a template instead of trying to generate it all. Or when I was in college, like we had to do it out by hand. I think we had like a hard copy that we could fill in and we would write on it. But I estimated like 3 days to put together a lesson PowerPoint. Usually once I start doing it, I'm able to do it in one day, but it's not necessarily the same day that I would decide on the deliverables. Recording the lesson and posting all the links. So obviously right now I'm recording the lesson, but posting the links for the lesson, that can take a long time because I can record stuff at work and I can process it at work, but I can't upload it from work. And so I know I have to allow time to bring my laptop home. I have to upload it from home. And then once I have that link, then I have to make sure that it gets posted in a Wakelet, or it gets posted on Teams, or it gets posted wherever I need to post it. Writing the handouts, posting the links for those handouts. Usually once I write those, okay, I can get them posted. I am actually going to go out of town on the 14th and 15th of next week. And so you'll notice that I don't know why I put this done update Teams on the 15th, because I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a mistake. That was supposed to be the 16th. But you know, I know I'm going to be out of town, so I don't put anything in my Gantt outline for that day. I'm also going to be busy on the 18th, so I can get some stuff done during spring break on the 16th and 17th. So like if I'm going to work over the break, that's when I'm going to do it. So I think that gives you an idea. And notice that you can have tasks overlapping. Let me see if I can find the laser pointer. There we go. So you can have tasks overlapping. And when we get further into this lesson, I am going to tell you, there are certain things that you need to have overlapping because you're going to get some kind of a delay. So you might be ready to 3D print something, but it might not get printed for 3 days because we might have a backlog with the printer, or something could go wrong with the printer. We need to troubleshoot it. And so you don't want to be doing nothing while you're just waiting for the 3D printer. So you need to have something else that's going to overlap with that so that you're productive on those days. So let's look at how one is edited. So I'm going to exit out of this PowerPoint, I think. Do I want to keep my ink annotations? Sure, let's do that. All right, and then I want to, okay, I guess I'm not going to do that. There we go. Okay, hopefully I'm able to bring that back. So this is the Gantt outline. This is per planning and engineering lesson. So I just scrolled up on that. And like first thing I need to do is I need to look at the curriculum. I need to see what is coming up in the next section that I need to cover with you guys. And I have to make an evaluation. Like, is this really important? Like, we are doing this year instead of generative design. So last year I did a whole thing on generative design and we're not even touching that. I can mark this as 100% done. Okay, and it changes the color over here. Determine the learning goals. Got that. That's like where I determine what it is I want you guys to take away from the lesson. So, what knowledge or skills do I need you to demonstrate? We decided on the deliverables and we have developed the PowerPoint. Okay, and notice how this all falls into place here. Recording the lesson, I don't know how far I am in this lesson. We'll say I'm about 50%, okay? And so Notice that it's like it shows that it's 50%. Write all handouts and post all links. Definitely haven't done that yet. Trying to scroll down over here. Okay. Upload team, something about teams. Update teams and upload all files. Haven't done that. Print and copy the handouts for the class. And this is the one that I wanted to change the date. So let's go ahead and change the date on that. So that's updated. Print and copy the handouts. Now you'll notice that this is the 21st because that's when we go back to school. So even if I write the handouts and get the links, I am not going to be able to print and get hard copies of handouts until I go back to work. And so that has to get put off there. And so you'll notice that there is a gap there. And then grade student submitted work. And I gave myself a generous window for getting work graded at the end. Okay, and notice that it does update it. So project start date, I put today's date, which is March 9th, 2022, and starting the display at week 1. But if you were past week 1 and this was starting to get cluttery or something, you could start your display at week 2. I actually redid some of these headings, okay, but you know, I'll give you guys some flexibility with that. You have to keep progress, you have to keep start and end, but the descriptions and the tasks, and then you guys are going to fill this in, okay? I'm doing all of it, so that's, but you with your team, you're going to have something in there for like who is assigned a particular task. Documentation, this is stuff that I need to document, like actual physical things or digital things that need to be produced. So I have the PowerPoint, I have the recorded lesson uploaded to Teams, handouts typed and printed, graded work visible in focus. So that's there. And then the template that you guys have is going to have more stuff down here like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, which you might want to use for your automata. All right, so you might want to say like phase 1 is research, phase 2 is concept sketching and doing sketches out, phase 3 is manufacturing, phase 4 is, and so you might have different phases. What I really want to get is my PowerPoint back. Okay. Actually, wait, let's minimize all of that. There we go. But that is not the right PowerPoint. That is, because I don't think you guys care about multiplexed designs and common, that's a totally different engineering class. Oh, look, we have agendas. We have the world's worst. Okay, well, this is exciting. Domain and range. We have a water pipe and somebody's circuit. Okay, let's go find it. Here we go. All right, it's like vanished off the all right, so we saw how one was edited. Okay, we're back. We're back and we're better than ever. Okay, so what do you need to do? So now that we've covered what a Gantt chart is and you are going to be provided with a template, you are also welcome to find your own template. Just run it by me before you launch into using it. So here's what you need to do. The final project for IED is to design and build an automata. That's kind of the driving project for the entire curriculum. Okay, I have a cat that's wanting to get in my purse. That's not cool. And we're going to spend a while on it. Last year, we started it like after the EOC. I'm going to have you guys do the same thing. We'll start it after you guys take your EOC. Your task with your team is to complete a Gantt chart outlining how you think this can be done between April 26th and the end of the school year. So you are going to get your cat And who wants to chew? No, stop. On a plastic bag containing something from a curling iron. Okay. Sorry, you guys can't see. I just took you all the way across the room. Okay, so you're gonna now if this video is being used in a different school year, you're going to have a different date there. So just keep that in mind when you're watching the video, that the dates are specific to a specific school year. So, so this is pretty much the month of May. This will be the time after the EOC, but you will need to allot time for testing days and other interruptions, including some more actual lessons. So I'm going to tell you build in some stuff, because I might decide that we need to take a day and we need to go over like some particular skill. It's just really going to depend on how things go. Here are some suggestions before you even get started. You will have to work with 1 to 3 other people on your automata to reduce the volume of 3D printing, drilling, etc. So last year, every individual student got to do their own, which was awesome. But I only had 12 students last year. So there are just shy of 60 students in IED, which is way too much volume on the 3D printer. We are going to have a limited amount of drilling resources and stuff like that. It's just like too much. So you have to work with at least 1 other person, but you can work with as many as 3, but no groups bigger than 4. If we get more than 4, then we end up with people riding coattails and not actually contributing to the project in a substantial way. I will let you guys pick your own teams. If you don't have somebody that you want to work with, or you're apprehensive about approaching somebody and you would rather have me assign you to a group, send me an email and I will do that. I'll take care of that for you. And I totally understand. So don't feel embarrassed about just saying, hey, I would rather be assigned to a group than pick one. That's all you have to say. And I do understand, especially if you don't have, like if your friends are in other classes, then that can end up being a little bit awkward. So I do understand that. That's fine. All right. And then something else you want to do before you even get started on developing an outline or a Gantt chart is you need to take time to look at videos of automatas online. So most of you don't even know what an automata is, or you have a very vague idea because we've had one sitting in front of the class all year. At least this year we have. So go to YouTube and look at some videos online. And I think PLTW has some videos in Unit 4 that you can reference that will give you an idea if you can't get into YouTube. You also need to have some familiarity with what materials we have to work with. So we don't have infinite supplies and infinite materials and stuff like that. So what is it that you're going to have to work with? Because that's going to determine how much work you need to do and how long you think it's going to take to do stuff. So you may also take a closer look at Dalton's and Julian's projects from last year. Dalton's is the green caterpillar automata that has been in front of the class all year. It is super cute and it's also really, really simple. So he was able to take a very simple design and make it look really cute and really creative by dressing it up. Julian's is in the closet. I'll bring his out. His is his concept was an engine, like a car engine, but the problem with doing that with an automata is the engine ends up upside down. So it ended up not working the way he wanted it to work, but you can see what he was able to come up with that. And that'll give you an idea of what it is that you're going to have to design and produce. Things to consider putting in your Gantt chart. So this is some of like the phases or steps that you might want to put in there. So you need to put in some time to brainstorm ideas. Brainstorming is so important. You need to get all those ideas out there for concepts for an automata. Okay, like what, and you got to come up with like a theme or an idea. You can keep it simple. You can make it more complicated. The more people you have on your team and the more, hands that you have to work with, the more ambitious you can be with what you want to do. If it's just you and one other person, then you want to keep it simpler. You need time to create concept sketches and detailed dimension drawings. These are going to be required and you're going to have to turn them in. So Concept sketches are those rough, quick sketches that are like, hey, I've got this idea. We're going to do like orange trees. And then you want to sketch it out on a piece of paper. I'm going to give you guys little blue notebooks. You'll get real familiar with those in college, but to record your stuff. And then a detailed dimension drawing is when you actually put the measurements on there, and you have to pay attention to the measurements. Last year, one of my best students last year just forgot about the dimensioning, and we 3D printed a ton of stuff, and it was all the wrong dimension because she just like forgot. She started to panic. So you want to have those detailed dimension drawings. Time to design and 3D print key components, not keys components. Here, let me fix that. Well, key components. Don't bite me, cat. Okay. Key components allow a window for Fusion to crash and for reprinting pieces as needed. You guys have done enough with Fusion. You know Fusion does not always cooperate. So you need to give yourself a generous window for that. And you also want to allow time to reprint things as needed. Time to drill. We will have to share limited equipment. So drilling window needs to overlap with other tasks. Wow, this is awful, like in terms of typos. There we go. I shouldn't be doing this on the touchpad here. Okay. No. There we go. That's to overlap other tasks. And this is what I meant. Time for the glue to set. So the glue, we're going to get better glue than we had last year. Last year we did not have the right glue. And that caused some issues. So we'll make sure we have the right like kind of wood glue that'll set faster. But you aren't going to glue your stuff together and then immediately be able to do stuff with it. So you need to have something else going on, okay? And that's that overlapping with other tasks on there. So you can have one person getting ready to drill stuff while somebody is designing your Fusion components. While the glue is setting, you might be painting your cams. You might be doing some other stuff. So you need to take that into consideration. And then time to procure outside materials such as paint, accessories, etc. It doesn't have to be expensive to be creative and cool. It really doesn't. Really, really simple things like creating a backdrop for your moving components can make your automata look really cool and really impressive. You think of some 8th grader coming in and they're like, wow, I want to build this. And it doesn't have to be really, really involved to look really neat. So, and that can go on almost the entire project timeline. Once you have your concept down, you got those concept sketches and those dimension drawings, and you know how you want to lay this out, then you can start looking for paint or glitter or, and we've got several things. We've got poster board, we have markers, we have a lot of sandpaper. We ended up getting way too much sandpaper last year, so. Okay, remember that testing can significantly disrupt our class time in the spring, and you have to consider that too. We're going to have FSA testing windows and shutdown days. I can be flexible with some of that, and but you know how it is. So just keep that in mind that you can't necessarily count on every day that is like a A day or a B day that we're actually going to have class that day. I can be available after school. And then last year when we went on our early release days at the end of the year, I had a lot of kids come in during those days. As your other classes start to wind down, you might want to get a pass and swing by, and you can work in the back of the room while, you know, I'm teaching trigonometry or whatever we're doing in our algebra classes. So those are some things to consider. And why is a Gantt chart a living document? I think this is actually the last slide. I should have been paying closer attention to that. So a living document is one that can be added to or revised as circumstances change. You might have heard that in social studies classes or poli-sci classes. A living document is one that you produce this document, and then the understanding is that it can grow, it can shrink, it can be added to, revised, that you can mess around with the timeline and stuff like that. So your Gantt chart is a living document. You're going to produce one for this activity, but don't think for 1 second that what you produce for this activity is going to end up being what you have at the end of the project. So your Gantt chart should be updated regularly. If you experience an unplanned for delay or need to change who is assigned to which tasks, these changes need to be reflected in the chart. So if somebody drops the glass or they drop off the face of the earth, you're going to need to revise who is assigned to those tasks. You may need to, timelines may need to be merged or adjusted so that you can still finish on time, because your deadline is your deadline, and it's going to be like that for your boss when you have deadlines. So you need, if you have an unplanned for delay, you need to look at your Gantt chart. You need to decide, okay, what of this is optional? It would be nice if we could do it, but we can cut it out if we have to. What kinds of tasks can be overlapped? Where can we work a little bit harder, a little bit faster? Maybe we can take a weekend. We have to do some stuff at home to make that work. You can also, there was something else I just thought of. Add stuff to it, and you might get partway through and realize there was an entire task that needed to be done. Like, oh gosh, what happened when I built mine in my summer training? This was a couple years ago now. Whoever put the drill bit in the drill press put the wrong diameter drill bit, and nobody really caught it until we had drilled all these holes. And so the holes were just a little bit too small for our dowels. Not like so small that we wanted to re-drill everything, but it made all the dowel rods stick. And so we solved that by sanding down the dowel rods, and we would sand them during class, during the lectures, like every spare minute we had the sandpaper in our hand, we were sanding down the dowels. So, and then constantly testing them to see if we got them the right size. So that would be something that you might want to add into your chart. Like, oh man, okay, we've got this whole other task. I am going to check your Gantt charts at intervals during the project to see if you are on track as shown in the chart. So it's probably a good idea that you have one person in your group whose specific responsibility it is to keep up with the little tasks that are going on, getting those updates. Like, are you going to finish on time? Are you going to finish early? Are you going to need more time? Do we need to merge stuff? Do you have a change? And what I will do during the course of the project is I'm going to pull your Gantt chart off of Teams and just check it. We're going to have like little check-ins and make sure that you are where you're supposed to be as documented on that chart. So I think that is it for this lesson. Yep, end of slideshow. Click to exit. So that is a wrap on the video recording. It's about 33 minutes. I can live with that. And hopefully this answers questions, and I'm going to expect to get tons more questions from you in class. So I'm going to be expecting it. So don't hesitate to ask. All right, so there we go. That is activity 3.3.2 as leading into our culminating IED project.